you even know what the legal definition of sexting is? I do.
Look who's back so soon. After just a couple-month vacation, the Dr. Disrespect thinks that he's well-deserved for a welcome comeback to YouTube. Yeah, he's back, guys. After literally admitting to his wrongdoings, tucking his tail, and running from the accusations, he's got some stuff to tell you, because he doesn't give a flying fidget spinner if what you guys think he did was wrong, because he says it's legal on paper, so it has to be right. But since when? Anybody with 2 active brain cells is going to be able to comprehend when people are showing signs of guilt. Kind of like that kid who got caught with his hand in the cookie jar and is met with 2 choices. Admit to taking the cookie and suffering all the allegations, or denying said cookie heist with the cookie literally right in the hand. If you've been living under a rock and managed to skirt past all this drama for the past couple months, good for you. Your luck runs strong, but this is where your luck runs out. To quickly recap all the drama that's happened in the last couple months, and I mean quick because I'd rather get to the topic of this.
We get it, move on!
Dr. Disrespect was banned from Twitch back in 2020, which sparked a bunch of controversy due to the lack of information regarding the ban itself. If you're interested in all the events that led up to this drama, then I actually did make a video on it when it first came out, and I'll put that in the description. And I'm just going to assume that you're kind of caught up with all the lore so that we can move forward and talk about Dr. Disrespect's return to YouTube. Okay, so what is most relevant in Dr. Disrespect's most recent return to YouTube is that just a few months ago, ex-Twitch employee Cody Connors alleged that Dr. Disrespect inappropriately messaged a minor on the Twitch Whisper platform. In response to these allegations, Midnight Society, a company that Dr. Disrespect had part ownership with, did a little bit of a deeper dive of an investigation into him, and then made a public statement saying that they had enough information to completely cut ties with Dr. Disrespect. And then on top of that, YouTube fully demonetized his channel. So what did Doc do? Well, actually, let's ask the question, what would any of us do if we were met with crazy allegations like the ones he was met with? Well, for starters, any sane person who's innocent is going to adamantly defend themselves against these accusations, provide all the proof that is going to show their innocence and clean their slate completely, and there's not even going to be an NDA that would be able to not allow you to clean your record like that. So the fact that, there was an NDA and both parties couldn't talk is no excuse for you to not talk if you are in the right. But of course, that's not what Dr. Disrespect did.
That's so stupid, you silly goose.
The man literally made a response, went full legalese, confirming that there was a minor and then taking out the word minor, making it super obvious that he's just trying to skirt around the age allegations of different types of countries. So this is where we're at. Just a few days ago before his comeback stream, basically the doc made it clear that his moral compass is guided by what's legal and not what's considered morally correct. In Doc's mind, if she's too young, put her in a place where she isn't too young, and all of a sudden you don't got a choice. You have to respect him. He didn't do nothing wrong, according to him. Yes, that's right. Dr. Disrespect's logic is because there's a law in a different country that has a lower age consent that you're not allowed to hold a 40-year-old married man with kids accountable for messaging somebody a third his age? But that's not why we're even mad. That's legal. It's the contents that weren't. I mean, the fact that he was willing to actually entertain any messages with somebody that young really shows a lot about the doc. When he's that old and has that much fame is a concern. Because no matter how you slice that, if you're someone young and someone as famous and as powerful as Dr. Disrespect actually messages you personally, it would cloud all judgment, take away any fight or flight response with just the pure sensationalism of messaging somebody that had the power and the ability to completely change the path of your life forever. I mean, because let's be real, anybody in the real world knows that fame on that level is as shallow as a kiddie pool. And the best thing you'd probably be able to do is get somebody else to moderate your personal channel. Because after the 100,000th I'm your biggest fan, you'd probably realize that nothing you'd ever say to these people would actually get through to them on a personal level because all they see is fame and opportunity in you. And on top of that, being that famous, you should probably know that if you actually message some of these people, it has the high potentiality of mentally f***ing that person right up. You know that story that I know somebody famous and they're about to change my life forever? No, they're not. They're just using you. It's a story as old as YouTube when a creator gets so famous that they don't realize the fame they have will make anybody struggling into their best friend. This leads to people basically doing whatever the hell the famous person wants or wishes them to do. Like literally, usually whatever they want.
You're not just using me, are you?
What would give you that idea?
What I just talked about does usually pertain to just two normal people that are having a conversation where one of them happens to be famous. In Dr. Disrespect's case, yeah, he's done all of that, but let me remind you again, 40 years old, married with kids, arguing his innocence based on the age legalities in different countries. It doesn't look good. So he's got negative moral ground to stand on here, and so do the people that are defending his actions. So he came back to YouTube in a stream the other day, and instead of giving you the typical 1,000-yard stare YouTuber sitting in the middle of a couch apology that normally we get served, kind of like what he did when he got caught cheating, he went a different route this time. Instead, he kind of just continued to reference the consent of age in different countries as kind of a gotcha to all the people that were accusing him. Like, because the person who's considered a minor in the US wasn't a minor somebody else, nobody is allowed to actually hold him morally accountable for anything. So I'm not very interested in going over the entire 6-hour live stream that he had the other day when he first came back to YouTube. But this guy right here, Jake Lucky, actually compiled all of the most important, crucial stuff of the stream, put it into one place so that we can all go take a look at it and move on from this mess.
Are you nervous to be back? After what's transpired over the last couple months, am I excited to be back to this type of world? God.
But surely that's the limit of his cockiness.
Hey Doc, is this world you're talking about the world where people protect kids and call out people for being lost in a dreamland? Yeah, well, you know what? I actually kind of like that world. A world that suggests that if I ever decide to have kids, that there's not going to be an opportunity for some rich creator to mess their heads up and then skirt around laws to be able to claim innocence.
So glad you're back. Hey, I appreciate it, Shane. It's good to be back to a certain degree, right? We got to figure out this monetization thing. So September 25th is basically when we can reapply for partnership on YouTube, you know? People ask, do I, now that you're not getting monetized, you're not going to be streaming ever again, or you're on YouTube, are you? There's an opportunity to reapply, right? September 25th is the date. So in the meantime, we'll do what we need to do.
Yeah, so this is like watching a drunk driver get their license back purely because they got a good lawyer who knows how to use loopholes. And if you ask me, that's kind of a huge slap in the face because that tells us that he knew what he did was wrong, just like we do. But he knows he's gonna get away with it legally, so he's giving up trying to hide it, and he's fully leaning into his villain arc.
I enjoy my time here on YouTube.
And by the sounds of it, you also enjoyed the Twitter whisper system. A little too much.
You know, we've built a nice, strong community for years. This is where we started 16 years ago.
And I think this is right where he realizes he doesn't need a lot of people to like him on YouTube to find success on YouTube as a platform. In fact, he's brainwashed a huge subset of people that would literally criticize anybody else for doing the exact same thing the doc did. But because they've been watching the doc's high-intensity streams for so long, it's literally now like a drug to them. A drug they're willing to take over condemning a 40-year-old self-admitted creep. And get that through your brain.
I'll do no such thing.
I like my time here. And I like the community. We've got the best, realest gaming community, right? The Champions Club. And we've built it on this platform, and if there's an opportunity to reapply for partnership, and there's a date that's been presented to us, then I'm gonna take it. In the meantime, like we always done, we've always stayed in our lane. We'll stay in our lane and continue to just put on a show.
The amount of copium that the doc had to have consumed before going on this live stream is damn near toxic levels, because he has no choice but to take whatever he can right now. Remember that as we speak, the doc is back on YouTube streaming video games for free, and he wouldn't be doing that unless this was his only option. And telling us that he's intentionally staying in his lane is comical, because he has nowhere else to go, no other lane to switch into. His literal option, his only option right now, is to stream for $0, and he's taking that option. A dude who previously scoffed at a deal worth millions is streaming for you for free out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah, right, when pigs fly.
Hello?
How we doing, guys? Did it work?
Your personal statement consisted of you admitting to the allegations before decisively removing the word minor and then adding it back in, making it so obvious that the problem at hand was the age of the person you were talking to. And I really don't think that Dr. Disrespect admitting this with his chest out is any form of him standing on business. Whatever, Doc.
I guess since you all missed the point with my personal statement, maybe it's time to tell my side of the story. Huh, champs? You see, there was a lawsuit pending, and as part of that arbitration, all parties were not allowed to speak publicly about the case. I respected those rules.
The doc is continuously rewrapping the same old nothing burger and trying to serve it up as some sort of new info that's going to prove his innocence to us all of a sudden. Well, he didn't, and he actually goes on to say how the post and all the wording he chose was actually mental gymnastics, meant to make people look twice. But why?
You see, there was a lawsuit pending, and as part of that arbitration, all parties were not allowed to speak publicly about the case. I respected those rules. My lawsuit against Twitch was eventually resolved, as you all know. But even then, as part of the settlement, all parties were still prohibited from speaking publicly about the case or the settlement. However, if one side violated that confidentiality, then the other side could respond. And again, champs, again, I respected all the confidential obligations.
Okay, so from my understanding, this legal obligation for him to stay quiet was not because he was innocent. In fact, if he was completely innocent, then there would be no law or NDA holding him back from just coming out and completely proving his innocence as soon as all of this stuff came out. But he couldn't do that, and that's because Twitch must have legal grounds to ban him and do what they did.
Ex-Twitch employee wasn't even involved, leaks Twitch's reported reason. Years later, Cody, why do this? What was the point?
He's kind of funny.
This was settled professionally. And you, knowing how black and white the internet is, you decided, rat, to leak the reported reason Twitch banned me in 2020.
And this, folks, is why you don't do this stuff live to the entire world. Because all of your mistakes and your true intentions get shown, and there's almost no way that you can prevent that from happening. Did you notice that he called the person who leaked the reason for his Twitch ban a rat? I thought this was pretty common knowledge by now, but people don't get called a rat for telling lies. They get labeled a rat for exposing the truth for self-gain. And believe me, the guy who leaked the reason did have an ulterior motive, but it was still the truth. According to Dr. Disrespect, at least it's the truth. Bro actually just low-key told us pretty much everything we need to know about him and his involvement in all of this.
I mean, for what? Cody? Why? Did you not know the repercussions from spewing lies about the two-time? Did you not know the repercussions of accusing me, Cody Connors? You see, you don't know shit, and it was obvious from your tweet. You didn't have any first-hand knowledge of my dispute with Twitch. You said that I got banned from Twitch because I was sexting a minor through Whisper's messages? Do you even know what the legal definition of sexting is? I do.
There's so much to unpack here. Okay, so first off, he gets all defensive of what he's being accused of, but he literally admitted to that exact thing he was accused of. From Dr. Disrespect's own admission, Cody said the truth.
You fucking rat.
Secondly, it is not a brag to tell the world how well versed you are in the different age of consent laws in different countries. And if you have to lean on those laws so heavily, so often that you literally are able to brag about how well you know them, then I think we can safely assume you're a real piece of shit.
But trust me, I wasn't sexting anyone.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
You also said the word minor, Cody.
So did you, Doc.
I even made sure that word was emphasized in my statement, edited, etc., just to make sure these so-called journalists would pick up on it. And boy, oh boy, did they ever, champs.
Okay, so let me get this correct. He never wanted this to become public, and when it did, he intentionally stoked the flames that led to him streaming for free. Because that makes all the sense, yeah. Sure, bud, keep telling that to yourself while you liquidate all your assets and move into a smaller house. Like, guys, This is clearly a man who's trapped in a corner and has never been told no in his life.
When you and all these so-called journalists, Cody, fired off your tweets, did any of you consider that the Twitch user may have been over the legal age of consent at the time of the messages?
Okay, so crazy part about messaging minors is it's completely legal to do so long as you abide by the law and keep it PG as you freaking should. So the only, and I mean the only reason why the doc had to be saying that is because of the contents of the messages, not who he was messaging. Because if he was messaging a minor appropriately, none of this would be going on right now. He'd be able to show his messages to the public and completely rid himself of all accusations. But he won't do that. And I think we can safely grasp the concept of why that might be.
If these former trust and safety team members, and by the way, I know exactly who they are, actually had firsthand knowledge, then what they conveniently left out is, 1, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally admitted that the whisper messages were not sexting. And 2, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally acknowledged that the whispers did not constitute child sexual abuse material CSAM. I'll say it again. Neither I nor the Twitch user exchanged any sexual graphic messages or images.
Okay, yeah, so that organization that he is referencing there only covers photos and videos, but not written text messages. And I can see why he conveniently left that out, and even kind of implied that that company did go through the messages, even though they don't do that. So yeah, another potential lie or skirt around the truth. Why am I not surprised though? You're literally making no money, you have absolutely no ground to stand on. If you're so damn innocent, guy, then show us. He won't do that though, because I'm willing to bet that that would take away his ability to remonetize his YouTube channel for good, because obviously the messages weren't 100% innocent.
How would each of you look if all of your private DMs, your text messages, your chats were looked at, dissected, and taken out of context by someone who's deliberately trying to find something inappropriate in those words?
Okay. Did this guy just imply that everybody has inappropriately messaged a minor in their life? Holy crap, that has to be some form of diagnosable narcissism. Dude thinks he's so in the right that he's convinced himself that everybody in this world is just a walking piece of shit. You know, I usually take a look at situations like this with a massive amount of skepticism, but this time I'm willing to take a pretty solid stance. And until or if he comes out with proof to prove his innocence, then I'm going to trust that his statements are true. Or should I say, his admissions of guilt. We see it time and time again in many forms, where the accused and the guilty try to form innocent narratives for themselves, while simultaneously admitting to the entire damn thing. It kind of reminds me of the whole O.J. Simpson case, where he was pretty much found to be guilty, but because he had a good lawyer, he got off scot-free. Then when he realized he was innocent on paper, he wrote a book saying, I did it. Literally. He wrote a book saying, I did it. You should look into that. It's crazy. But it's funny because OJ wrote the book, I Did It, but he himself would tell anybody that's in charge of his freedom that he most certainly didn't do it. No, not him. Couldn't have been him.
If it doesn't fit,
Okay.
you must acquit.
Anyways, guys, I really don't think the future is bright for the dog here when he's actively holding a lighter under his career and with every statement digging a hole deeper. And it's going to be weird seeing what may or may not come from all of this. Maybe we get a statement from the German girl herself. I'm just kidding. I don't know if she's German. I don't even know her gender. I'm just throwing rocks at a gravestone. If you enjoyed this video, then a like on this nonsense would really help the channel out. And if I haven't earned your subscription, then there's always in the next video. Anyways, thanks for watching. Go give your cat fresh water.